Hey, Steve Shenbaum here. Game On Nation. We are in the Laugh With podcast, and we are laughing with today a dear friend of mine, Tucker Owen. Laugh with Tucker. Tucker's one of the most talented presenters I know. We'll unpack that and talk about public speaking and connection to audience and anything else that kind of comes our way as we create a little structure, but also have a little freedom to go there. Tucker is the campus pastor at Bayside Church here up in, they're in a lot of different spaces in our area, but we attend at times off of Manatee Avenue. So if you're in this area, it's in Bradenton. Tucker's also a father of 4. We'll talk about all sorts of stuff. Tucker Owen, good to see you.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me, Steve.
You're welcome, man. I have to acknowledge for our listeners and our viewers that you and I both had an espresso shot.
Yes. Cheers.
Yes. And I'm just saying we may not need an espresso shot, but we had an espresso
Yes.
shot. Fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I'll just
always
acknowledge that if my energy gets extra, as my daughter would say. All right. In Laugh With, when we talk about Laugh With, this time Laugh With Tucker Owen, we talk about what brought you some joy, man. And defining laughter for our listeners and our viewers is more than just a funny joke.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want people to feel the pressure of like, oh, I got to be funny by like wowing the audience and killing it.
Yeah.
What's something that's brought you laughter, brought you some levity, brought you joy recently, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks, Steve, for having me.
You're
I'm
welcome.
so honored, excited to be here. I've learned a lot about laughter from you, like in our times together and our walk and talks. And when I think about laughter, before you and I really connected, it was always, joke, punchline, get everybody laughing. But it's really this experiential thing that we walk through. So for me, when I think about joy, and the first thing that came to my mind was my newest addition to the family, Raya. And so Raya Jane Owen was very unexpected. We were not anticipating. I was done. I wanted to be done. Annalise, my wife, was not. And we're driving back from West Palm Beach in January of 2025. So it was January 1st. Never forget it. We're driving down I-95. And I look at her and I was like, I know that there's something. Like I was like, I know that you're late.
Wait, so you sense like,
all
might be pregnant.
I was like, you're late. And she's like, how did you know? And I was like, well,
I'm prophetic. No, I'm kidding. Well, maybe it is. Was it prophetic?
I was like, well, I know that you are. And she's like, I didn't want to tell you to stress you out. Well, sure enough, we go home. The next morning she takes a test and we find out that we're pregnant with our 4th, Raya Jane. So initially I was feeling all the feels from that, but man, when she entered the world on August 31st, it was actually at the kickoff of Miami playing Notre Dame. So I was a little bit frustrated by that. However,
I love that. You're riffing. I'm like, oh, this is such a good moment. And it interrupted a big time college football game.
Yeah, it was a big deal. However, we got to watch Miami beat Notre Dame in fashion together in her first 2 hours of life. But man, since then, I'm telling you, she has just been this bundle of joy for the whole house. She brings laughter. She brings tears of joy with what she's brought to the home. And it's just been so amazing. And
I love
fantastic, man. It's been
Dude,
so good.
You can already hear it. You can tell, Tucker, you have such a great way of flow and words. But I also love that you teed up something that has nothing to do with being funny in the room, nothing to do with being hilarious, but it's joy of a new addition to your family. Yeah. I also love that you said, like, tears of joy, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is.
Absolutely.
4 kids, dude, all under the age of like 12, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're 10 and under.
Yeah. So you got 4 under 10 and under. So you're dealing with some sleep deprivation. You're dealing with some.
Yeah. Man, always.
Yeah. I love that. So I always like to offer a laugh with on my end.
Yeah.
I just was thinking about it. I was listening to you, and you probably get in trouble for this one, but my wife, Jackie, who I love, you mentioned Annalise.
Yeah.
They know each other. And Jackie had a very healthy procedure she went through, but she had to get kind of put under for a few hours, and everything went well. So I always say that because that would be a weird story. But I came into the room after she was coming out, and they said, you're Jackie's gonna be a little out of sorts, and she was. It was great. So she's very rarely out of sorts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Fav, you'll love. The doctor's next to me, and he says right away everything was perfect. And Jackie's coming out of things, so she hears the word perfect. Yeah. And I look and I go, oh, thank you. And the nurse is there, and they're used to people coming out of the anesthesia, a little loopy. And the doctor said everything went perfect. I said, great. And then Jackie goes, only Jesus is perfect.
Amen.
Under anesthesia.
You're like, amen.
And I'm like, what a heart. What a heart. And then she went on. She goes, and I want you to know, this is my husband. She introduced me, which was great. Some great boundaries.
Oh my God.
And then she goes, he gave me the greatest gift. And then I was like, what? This woman is about to talk about our children.
Yeah.
This woman's about to talk about our children talk. And she said, I'm going to get in so much trouble for this. He gave me the greatest gift. And I waited, and she goes, he got an espresso machine for us.
Oh my God.
She doesn't remember any of this.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, that's it.
That's
This
so
made me
funny.
laugh.
Yeah,
I bring it up. I
yeah.
started taking notes. I didn't film her, but
Yeah.
anyway. Dude, laughter can come
Yeah.
so many different spots,
Mhm.
bro. I want to back up a little bit. We don't have some major structure. We're leaning into this
Yeah.
presentation, public speaking, the things you and I used to chop up when we walked
Yeah.
together. I want to back it up and ask, like, and I'm asking you to get out of your humility. Did you always have a confidence presenting in front of people? Or was it actually like something that you struggled with or just didn't even know?
Yeah.
You know, I know you were an athlete growing
Mhm.
up in this area, so you're in
Mhm.
front of folks. You know how to deal with pressure.
Yeah.
You know how to take care of yourself. But like, yeah, what was that rhythm like for you? Because I know you didn't grow up in the acting side,
Right.
you know. So
Right.
what was that like, young
Yeah.
Tucker?
Yeah. So the word leader or leadership has always kind of been something that has either been told to me as a kid growing up, like this is what you are, or this is what you exude or show. And then as I've continued to grow, I've leaned into that. I think a good leader always wants to grow, always wants to be consistent, always wants to get better. And so I began on that journey.
By the way, we're going to get back to that. Grow, consistent, get better.
Yeah.
Hang on that because that's some practicality.
Mhm,
by the way.
absolutely,
But we'll get
man.
back. Yeah, grow, consistent, get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep
Which
going.
really does tie into the communication piece. And so growing up, I didn't take courses, classes. I had a public speaking class at the college that I went to, Palm Beach Atlantic University, go Sailfish. But like I had the public speaking class, but I did it because I was supposed to do it, right? It was a prereq. So I remember going through it and then presenting for the very first time in that class and realizing there's something here.
What was that though? Was it like something here like you enjoyed the experience, something here that like you got positive feedback or both?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I think when I think back to that moment, it's always been about the people. For me, it's always people connecting with the people and how do we do that and how do we grow in that? So when I think back to that moment, I had a bunch of buddies in that class who I'd really connected with and my speech was funny. And so they connected with me while I'm connecting with them. And my teacher was like, man, you did a really great job. And so I kind of went on this journey of trying to grow a little bit more into that. Initially, there wasn't much there. And then I got the call to ministry. And that's a whole story in and of itself.
And we'll unpack that later, but I want to jump in and have you run with this. You're young at the time. What am I guessing? I love you said go Sailfish. Is that the mascot?
That's the mascot.
Sailfish.
Yeah, Sailfish. Yeah. No football team, which is unfortunate. So I just had to go support all the other sports.
Sailfish.
But
so
man,
intimidating.
yeah.
You are what, 2019, I'm guessing.
At this time, I was
Yeah.
19. Yeah.
How did you control your ego? How did you control? We talk about this a lot. The
Yeah.
dopamine, the serotonin,
Totally.
the high of being on
That's
how
right.
at night. I'm talking. You're a grown man now and father and husband, but 19, you're wide open to believe the hype.
Mm-hmm.
How did you control that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I didn't communicate enough to where I feel like I could get the hit of the dopamine at the time. So I think back and I'm like, God has been so gracious in his mercy in my life because he was developing character, I think, in the interim, right? And there's been seasons and times of, especially in communication, where it's like you feel really great one day or one season and the next season you're struggling. So back in that time, I wasn't doing it enough to really make myself believe that I was even good.
Fair.
I think I just got positive feedback and I can always kind of trace it back to that moment of first trying it, right? Of, okay, this actually kind of flowed, this worked, but I really enjoyed engaging with the people. This was before the call of ministry. And so what it took was the tenured communicator who saw something in me to call it up out of me to then give me the space and the opportunity to do it. Wow. And so, man, like I said yes to the call and I began to run the race hard towards Jesus. And the moment I did that, he began to open doors that no man could shut. I mean, even to this day, Steve, if you told me 19-year-old Tucker at Palm Beach Atlantic, supporting the Sailfish to 34-year-old Tuck today, that you're going to be speaking live in the city you grew up in the middle of the town, that in the heart of Bradenton, of like where you, met your wife and all the things. I would think that you're crazy, but really only God can do it.
Yeah.
And only he can create those types of ways or open those types of doors. So, yeah, I know that doesn't answer the dopamine question,
No,
but that does kind of end up coming along the way as I grow in communication.
I think you hit on, though, the fact that you didn't have enough reps to really get caught up in that high.
Totally.
No, I do. I'm thinking about our listeners and our viewers and how we can all learn from one another, imperfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I think you actually, and I'm listening to you. I told Tucker, listeners, viewers, I told you, you're the authority here on this. We've worked together, but there's so much we can learn from you. I remember you mentioned something in one of our walk and talks last year, and I'm curious, you worked at the Breakers.
I did.
Yeah, I want to talk about this because it's interesting to me. Like, that was an experience, and I just don't want people to be like, dude, you went to college, Sailfish, go Sailfish, and then all of a sudden some mentor spoke life into you, and next thing you know, you're a campus pastor, right? Like that doesn't give your journey justice. But Breakers, I remember you sharing that with me because I pictured this young man trying to earn a living or have some additional income.
Yeah.
And you're interacting with high level folk.
Totally.
What was that like? And how did that help you
Such a good question,
with your presentation skills? Because
Yeah.
you could argue that's a pretty big presentation when someone hands you the keys to their Rolls Royce and they're like,
absolutely. Yeah, man.
take care of it.
That's such a good question. And that actually does bring up how it developed over time and God doing the work in the background and kind of in the desert, so to speak, before me even understanding and knowing what I was going to do in the future. But yeah, I was a valet runner at the Breakers Hotel over in West Palm Beach. I have driven every type of car you can possibly imagine besides a Dodge Viper and a Bugatti. Those are the two I never got to drive. I don't know why. I always wanted to. But I drove every single type of car you could imagine, and I worked there for 6 years. Yeah. So I was a valet runner as well as a bellman. But you're interacting with the 1%ers on the planet.
Yeah.
So you're talking about people who can spend $100,000 over the course of 2 days in a weekend and enjoy themselves and have fun and experience Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And so when you begin to talk to these types of people, you connect and grow in different ways that you didn't think you could, man. And really, when I look back to that time and that season, when you're walking into their room and you are hosting them, you want to present well.
Oh, dude.
And so,
yes.
Yeah.
And that's not just like how you look, right?
Totally.
What does that look? And again, dude, how old are you? Were you in college or was after college?
Yeah, I was 20.
So I just want to get an age range because I want people to understand that, like, you could be building these muscles at 20 years old.
Yeah, man.
You don't need to sign up for a traditional public speaking class.
Totally.
So what did that look like for you in terms of presenting with excellence, aside from, I know you've always been intentional about your physical presence, as a former athlete, but what else does that look like for you?
No, that's really great. And I'll even say, go off of something that you said as well, Steve, that like, if you are listening, like, you don't have to have a platform or a pulpit to grow in this.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was hotel rooms in front of people, and God was using that space for me to continue to grow.
We tell young athletes, we used to work a lot at IMG Academy for a decade, but we tell young athletes, like, use the opportunity when you're out to dinner with your family and friends to, like, you go to the hostess stand and say, we're ready for our 6:30 reservation. Like, that can be walking down the aisle at Publix on aisle 7 and having a chance to, like, engage with someone is just as much of an opportunity as being in an arena.
That's right.
Which very few of us are going to enter the arena anyway. So
that's right, man.
So you're back to the Breakers, and those who don't know, Breakers is a really beautiful elite hotel in South Florida. But what else does that look like in terms of presenting, and what did you learn from that experience of what to do and what not to do?
Yeah, that's good.
In the 1%er, because I'm sure not everyone was lovely.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
So you learn a lot about yourself in those moments.
Yeah.
And then also, that's really where I began to learn how to read people. Before you can read a room full of 500 people, or 600 or 800 or 1,000 people, like I'm doing today, I had to learn how to read the one or the two, right? So if you walk in and you're like, hey, welcome to the Breakers. My name's Tucker. I'm going to be taking care of you this afternoon. And it's instantly like short, to the point, bags over here. you know that you're going to keep the spiel short.
I like this versus I'm going to win them over.
Yeah.
No, meet them where they are.
That's it, man.
Oh,
That's
so good. Keep
And
going.
that's like, that'll grow you emotionally. Like emotional intelligence when you're communicating, like the EQ side, like the emotional quotient versus like an IQ side of intelligence, like the emotional side of understanding who the person is in front of me and then meeting them where they're at translates in any environment and any space, right? But me walking into a room, you can tell if they want to engage immediately. They walk in with a smile. We're so glad to be here. This is awesome. Tell me about the hotel. They'll ask you for that, right? Physically or verbally. If they don't, you know. Quickly. And so I learned to read people. And so I had my long spiel, I had my medium spiel, and I had my short spiel. So it was sometimes as short as, so glad you're here. Welcome to Palm Beach. My name is Tucker. If you need anything, here's my extension. Can I get you some ice?
It's so good, dude. Has there ever, I'm going to put you on the spot. Before I do that, I'll share one where it's well-intended, but I had a drive-through at Starbucks. And it's just, I want to go. Yeah, and I'm not even that guy. I'm not really short, but it's 5:30 in the morning. I got my
that's it.
nitro cold brew, just one a day. And I can't do one after noon, before noon. And the well-intended young man said, as I'm about to pull away, he's like, any plans for the weekend? And it was well-intended, but if you,
Yeah, God bless.
Yeah, if you read the room, you know, like, I'm about to head out. I don't know you. Are you joining us for the weekend?
Yeah.
I do. I have plans. Should I give him my cell phone? I don't know what to do. But that's probably a misread, not his fault per se.
Totally.
Put you on the spot. Was there a time during that Breakers experience where you misread it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious because I always like to hear about, like, because I do, where you're like, oh, that was such a bad put. Like, hey, how we doing, man? Everything good? You're like, grab my golf clubs.
Totally. And that's the thing, is that young man at Starbucks, like, I say God bless him because he's trying to learn what it's like to read people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many fails I had being in front of people, going from the Breakers world into the sales world, and then finally kind of coming onto the scene in the ministry world. You have a lot of failures before you have like a moment of, I've been here before and I know how to pivot if I need to in the moment, right?
I don't think we promote our failure. Not that we should be posting, hey, I have a total train wreck, humbled and blessed. I don't know how to communicate. Sign up for my communication program.
So I had those moments at the Breakers, man, all the time.
Is there an example? I mean, do you mind? Like, is there an example of that miss? It could be in the Breakers moment, in the sales component, which was kind of your act two, or even because Tucker, you're so charismatic, as my kiddos would say. You got Riz. He's got aura. You do. You've got a great, awesome.
I just learned what Riz was.
Yeah. So you and me both. I apparently don't have it in front of my children.
Bro.
I appreciate that. Stop it. Don't stop. Well, ask my 14-year-old. She'll say otherwise, but that's okay. Too much proximity there. No, but I do want people to understand, folks that are very confident, like both of us, also that they shouldn't get tricked into thinking that we've mastered this and that it's always fluid and that every story has got like beginning, middle, end, you know, and we've always read the room right. Tons of failures. Does anything stand out to you in terms of like that moment where you walk away, you're like, oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, man.
Did I miss?
Mean, in the early days of being a bellman, they give you, and I say the management team gives you these points that they like really, really want you to hit.
Got it.
And so I wanted to be a good employee. I just got promoted from valet runner to bellman. And I'm like, I want to be sure I'm hitting these points well. So what you do when you go into the room is you hit like, we have this opportunity and we can help you with this. I just remember early on, it was like one of those things where it was a guy, it was probably 10 or 11 o'clock at night. He had just flown in. I could tell he was a business guy. He had a long day. He had just told me that he had a layover. And so, and the layover was like super long, and then it took him forever to get there. And so he finally got to the Breakers, and it was hours beyond when he was supposed to. And I just remember asking him questions about it. And he's like,
tell me more about the miserable time you had.
Oh, bro, he's looking at me like, get a hint, brother. Like, can we be done with this? And I just and then I finally get to the point where I ask him, can I get you some ice? Like, that was kind of one of the closing. And then you go get the ice, you come back, you get your tip. And he looks at me and he's like, I don't need ice. I need you to get out of my room so I can go to bed. And that was like, Okay, this is the moment where I tried to really earn that tip. Like I tried to go over and above when really he probably would have tipped me better if I just left the room and let him go to sleep. And so there's moments like that. I remember when I started in the sales world selling flooring, I was so green and I was so new to understanding construction and flooring. And I walk onto a job site of a house off of Las Olas in Fort Lauderdale.
Isn't that funny? You remember like all the details on those burn
Oh,
moments?
I remember his name.
Yeah, it's great.
And because it taught me a lot. Him and I actually ended up becoming friends. His name was Robert. But the first time I ever walked onto Robert's job site, you're talking a $6 million plus house on the water. I'm trying to sell him a floor, high-end walnut. I'll never forget, ripped and quartered walnut. Walk onto the job site. And he looks at me, he's like, "Who are you?" So instantly I should have known that maybe there's something that happened along the way for him that that made his day rough or challenging. Well, I'm like a 23-year-old aggressive kid trying to sell a floor. And he just goes, "Well, who are you and what do you want?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm here to ask you about your floors." And he's like, "Now's not the time." And I was like, this is where I should have stopped. I said, "Well, can I at least have the floor plans?" And he looked at me and said, "Do you know what it means when I say that this is not a good time?" And I'm like, well, if you get... And I kept trying to pull something out of him that he wasn't ready to give. I went back to that job site 3 weeks later and apologized, took him out to lunch. We ended up becoming friends and he ended up giving me the job. But what we have to learn as communicators is, and really anything in life, bro, and you know this, Steve, like so much, is if you have to be able to read the room and the person.
Yeah.
And the only way I feel like you learn to do that is to get out there and try.
Yes. Oh, Tucker, it's so relieving to not only hear your successes, which we're going to continue talking about, but like examples of where we failed.
Yeah.
We don't post those.
No.
You're certainly not going to like put them on a resume.
Yeah, totally.
You know, it reminds me too that, you know, when we are reflecting on our mistakes, kudos to you for going back and reconnecting with Robert, you know, and saying, "Hey, I actually assessed what happened."
Yeah.
It also reminds me, I want to talk about this a little bit with you, that there needs to be structure. Let's go back to Breakers. Breakers has like, you know, it's funny you said, like, they have like 6 points. You mentioned, well, like, talk about the ice, you know, and I'm sure, get the tip.
Oh, yeah.
You have the structure. You have this, I call that structure or script. But also with the structure and script, the ability to have, we call it improvisation, which is not what people think all the time. Improv is about being funny and doing skits without script. It's being able to pivot.
Yeah.
Having the structure, but also being able to go, okay, the structure's here, but I need to pivot because I'm getting different signals. And I love that you pick up those signals. Now you're going from these one-on-ones and you're in front of, I mean, some of your audiences talk when you're sharing your sermons at Bayside. What is it? How many people fill in that room?
We have like just over 650 chairs in the space, and we have 2 services. So
yeah, 650 people. That's not normal to get that many rhythms. So how are you taking some of these like reads, one-on-one reads, and then bringing them to a room of like 650 on a pretty regular basis? Not like every Sunday, but you're pretty much getting reps on the regular.
Yeah, absolutely. That's also such a good question, man. I think that the way it translates once again is like reading the room, reading people. But now I'm not doing it to make a tip. I'm doing it to deliver the best news in the entire world.
So I have to stop just to reiterate that, even though it was just said, the shift now is the objective is not about you.
Yeah.
And it's not about gaining the tip.
Yeah.
It's about serving
for sure
the audience.
Yeah, man. I recently heard like a quote. I don't remember who it was from. It was a pastor though. And he said, people will not die for a task, but they will for a mission. And so when I actually found this call in my life to deliver the best news of the entire world, and my personal and humble, but also very big opinion is that which is Jesus, that, you know, the grave is empty, and because it's empty, now anything's possible because he said it is. It helps me deliver in a different way with passion. At the Breakers, I was trying to make a buck.
Yeah. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just your mission.
Absolutely.
Your mission's a little different.
For sure. And there's a lot of guys who travel and speak and are substantially better communicators than I ever could be, and they do it for the dollar, but they have a mission behind it.
Yeah.
And so for me at the Breakers, it was like the mission was obviously the money, but it was meeting people and then still trying to connect with people.
Yeah.
Now today, the way it translates is not only do I get up on a platform and I got to read the room,
Yep.
and I'll know pretty quickly in worship, is this going to be a room that's going to respond and talk back?
What are you picking up off that? This is really interesting. This is where I'm like, what do you got, bro? Because I got some stuff, but what do you got?
Yeah.
What are you picking up signal wise?
Yeah.
Is it about how they've sung in the worship? Is it about the feel you're getting? Is it the way they've laughed at earlier humor or lack thereof? What are you getting?
Yeah. So usually for me, like I'll know pretty quick in a worship set from song one.
Wow.
If people are in it or not.
And just to set the stage, we're talking about what about 20? I mean, it's pretty structured.
It's structured, yeah.
In order for there to be some pivot and
Absolutely.
movement. But about, what is it, 20 minutes of worship?
Yeah, 20, 25 minutes of worship.
And you're right there, Tuck, when you're, because I'm ready to get into like your prep.
Yeah.
And this is so interesting, at least for me.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't interest anyone else, at least we're enjoying it. How many views did you get? 2. That was tuckerowen.com and Steve Shenbaum at Gmail. What are you looking for? What are you sensing in that 20 minutes? Because I know you're right there up front, stage left, house right, in the mix, and usually your wife's next to you. And what are you picking up?
Yeah. So song one's always like a high praise song. Energy. Are we clapping? Are we like, is the room clapping with us?
Yeah.
Are they raising their hands with us? Are they moving in the same direction we're moving? And so quick, are they in this or are they not?
Wow.
It was interesting at Easter, as Easter being a service that draws a lot of people who typically don't go to church.
Everyone's it's crowded on Easter.
It's like Pastor Randy calls it the CEO. It's like Christmas and Easter only people, right? They're only coming on those days.
Yeah.
And so it's wild, the difference in engagement, because a lot of our church came to the Good Friday, like the regulars came to the Good Friday service, and then the 10 o'clock on Easter Sunday was a lot of new people, and we want them to come.
Yeah.
But the difference in engagement, you feel it. It's a feel thing. You can see it with your eyes. You can experience it when you're up there. And so in those moments, if I know that it's an audience or it's a congregation or a group of people that don't really seem like they're engaged, I'm going to do a little bit of work on the front to be sure that they know I'm just like them.
Yep.
And I want you to be a part of what we're doing.
So what are some things you can do? I can run with this on my side, but what are some things that you do early on to kind of build that accessibility?
Yeah, for sure. So like I was saying earlier, when people know there's a mission and a vision and it's worth following, they do.
Yeah.
So people instantly perk up when you're like, okay, this is something worth listening to today.
And I think for the folks that are not presenting in like the church space, there's the same structure, which is like, let the audience know where we're heading.
That's it. Yep.
I mean, there's a really basic framework for those who want to present anywhere.
Yeah.
In front of 5 people or 800, 650.
Absolutely.
Let the audience know what we're going to do,
Yeah.
then go through it, and then let them know what we just went through, right?
Yes. No, for sure. That's it. And if you're living in a community that you care about enough, and someone begins to talk about how you can be a part of impacting it, a lot of the times that draws them in too.
Yeah, so it's an invitation.
I always, early on, and then of course the invitation to get to know Jesus, the man who changed my life forever. But early on, even if I'm not addressing Jesus specifically, I still tell them that they have a piece and a part to move and mobilize the local church to make a difference in the community you live in.
I love it.
Everybody wants to make the community they live in better.
Yeah.
And so everybody wants Bradenton to grow and be better if you live here. If you don't, then it's like, how else are you contributing to be sure that you are?
Yeah.
And so that's always a compelling thing to kind of draw people in early. And then I always have them talk back. Like,
Yeah,
I
some
always
kind of
give them the
engagement.
hand motions, like, come on, turn to your neighbor. And like kind of start getting them a little bit more excited, and then come on, can you say that Jesus is good in his house and give him some praise? Like I try to get them moving and really creating a space where they're like, okay, this guy's like a pretty normal dude, and I can clap along, I can respond to him, and it makes a difference for me as I'm attending and listening. So,
and I think you do a really good job of that, Tuck. And we've talked about this. The challenge, and for all of us, is not to overplay that.
Yeah, totally.
Because that engagement is cool until it's not cool.
Absolutely.
And I think you do a really good job of that, because we can turn to people, and everyone's been in rooms where like, we're going to pair off, and like, they're waiting. Is this going to get weird?
Yeah.
Or is this going to be like purposeful? You know, we're going to pair off and stare at each other for 60 seconds and we're going to tell each other our deepest, darkest secrets. Like, don't want to.
You're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's my wife, I'm really not
Totally.
interested in going to that level of depth with a stranger.
Right.
I think you do a great job of that. Back up, bang left, to quote our COO, Jake. He has that term, bang left of the worship. What's some of your prep when you lead up to, you got, let's just say you got a sermon. And when I say sermon, I want people to understand too, you don't have to be a pastor.
Yeah.
To think of yourself as a presenter.
That's it.
That's really important. You don't have to be a game on guy to think of yourself as a presenter. If you think that way, we're really moving ourselves out of the painting. Presenter can be someone who is leading and volunteering to be their daughter's softball coach.
Mm-hmm. That's it, man.
A presenter could be someone who's going to city council and volunteering to share a new plan for our community.
That's it.
A presenter could be walking down aisle 7 at Publix. But for you, in front of your 650, 2 different times on a Sunday, what is your prep leading up that week? What are some things that you find that really help you get in a spot where you can share with authenticity?
Yeah. So I may do a little bit more prep than the average guy.
That's fine.
I take a lot of pride in my prep, but I've also had to learn, shift, and grow, and understanding that and we've talked about this, Steve, on our walk and talks. I can become so rigid that if it doesn't begin to go in the direction I want it to go, I have a hard time pivoting.
That's so important to keep talking about, and I want you to unpack that a little bit. I can't believe I just said unpack that. Unpack that a little.
Yeah.
But that's important because I think a lot of us do that. We want structure, but too much structure. Then you get angry when you're like, oh, it's not going my way, which actually makes it more about us than the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what, in our talks, and one of many things that I've taken from our conversations is I build in my preparation those untethered moments, as you've brought up to me. So if I can get untethered, and what I mean by that is kind of just like breaking free for a minute and getting out there with the people, and I intentionally build those into my prep, it's still very calculated, and it's still very directed, but it creates space for God to say and do something that I didn't write down on my iPad.
Yeah.
And so I always build that into my messages, but man, my prep, I would say an average message gets, depending on the depth, like last week I preached on Jonah, and that was probably 15 to 17 hours of prep just for that one.
And that's important for people to hear that, because if you only see the finished product, you see a young guy, and you won't say this, I will, young, dynamic, attractive guy who comes in, he's got everything figured out, which I know you don't, nor do I. 4 kids, wonderful wife, and comes in and just wows them on stage. And we got to remind everyone, that's the finished product.
Yeah.
What you don't see is the prep time.
Yeah.
17 hours,
the grind, man.
Yeah.
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 You got to there's a gift in that grind.
Oh, totally.
Like you got to fall in love with the grind.
Yeah.
And I truly have, to a certain degree.
Oh, I know you have.
There's times, man, when I was working on the Jonah message last week where I was like, God, if I don't get a word of some sort right now, like I am throwing in the towel. Like I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired. Like you hit those walls when you're prepping, communicating. And those are the moments where it becomes a gift. Like I'm grinding this out, but I'm doing it with my Father who cares, and I want to speak his word. It makes sure that your perspective is aligned properly. My priorities are in the right place as I'm communicating. And then he always pulls through. Like there's always a word. And so
it could be in the 11th hour.
Yes.
It could be on the Monday leading up to the Sunday, right?
Yeah.
To talk about.
I've gotten things like morning of to communicate. And it's a beautiful thing.
But the structures comes first, right?
Yeah.
I think that's really key for everyone.
Yeah. So
you can't improv first. We call it improv or pivot.
Yeah.
You pivot or improv first. You don't know what you're pivoting off of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's a structure that Bayside actually taught me. I think
oh, cool.
It comes from Pastor Larry Stockstill, I believe, which is Pastor Randy Bizet's pastor.
Nice.
And Pastor Randy has shared it to all of us communicators. So I've learned it through the grapevine.
Yeah, what is
it? And it's hook, book, look, and took.
And I always we love game on. We love alliterations, assonance in this regard. I like to use my English background, my grammatical erudition, if you will. But so that's easy, at least to remember. So walk through that a little bit, man. Do you mind?
Yeah, absolutely. And it can change here and there, but the hook is how am I hooking or drawing into
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
it's usually, is it a story? Is it a story that is funny?
Mhm.
Is it a story that kind of pulls on the heartstrings? Is it a historical story that ties into the message? But you go from your hook into your book. So, okay, here's a story that ties into what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Here's the scripture that supports it.
Yeah.
So let me put my scripture in. And then my look is, okay, now let's look at that scripture in more depth.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
it's that turns into the teaching moments.
Yep.
What's happening contextually.
So look is almost like let's reflect on this a little
Yeah,
bit.
let's
Let's dive a little deeper. Hook, book, look,
then
and
took.
yeah.
So that here's your applicable things that you take away for you to grow and understand that you can apply to your life that'll move the needle in your life.
It's taken me a long time as a background in theater and improv to fall in love with framework,
Yeah.
because framework allows for freedom.
Mm-hmm.
But if all it is freedom, guess what happens? We're going up there going, yeah, I'm just going to wing it.
Yeah.
Oh, good luck on that, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going
I
to wing
know.
it. Oh, don't try that.
No, and
Don't
it's
try
it's like you get like secondhand embarrassment when you know that it wasn't prepped, like
What do you-
the person is communicating and it wasn't prepped for.
Oh, second.
Like I feel like bad for them
Oh, yeah.
because it's so obvious that you didn't prep.
Yeah. Oh,
And so it's just tough to watch.
Yeah.
Honestly.
and you have empathy for the presenter because you do it a lot, but you're like, oh, you can just tell this person's quote unquote winging it.
Yeah. Put an hour in and it moves the needle 10x,
Yeah.
you know? And so, and we serve a God of order, man. Like he did things in order and in structure from Genesis 1 on. Like, so yeah.
I really like that. Hook, book, look,
and
took. Yeah, in our vernacular, and I want to encourage our listeners and viewers to think about framework for them,
Yeah.
and don't covet the framework,
Yeah.
but lean into it.
Mm-hmm.
We call it SPOT:
Mhm.
set up, present, observe, takeaway. You could argue that that's a similar framework. I also want to encourage folks. There's a plain glass perspective and there's a stained glass perspective. You're coming right now within the church as a campus pastor. You're allowed. You have that stained glass perspective, which is you're coming from scripture, and people are showing up to your sermons with an agreement that we're going to talk about the Lord.
Yeah.
And there's also a beauty to. There's times when we're going and game on to like companies that are not looking for a sermon. They're looking for a presentation that's impactful. And all we have to do is go from stained glass to plain glass, a shift of the language briefly to still send a message out that is of light, of kindness, and of respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's just as much as a local church is just as much as Game On. Like there's a mission and a vision that you're always getting to. You're always driving it home, and people will follow a mission and a vision.
So you said it earlier. I think I don't want to paraphrase, but you talked about the task versus mission.
Yeah. Task versus mission.
Yeah. People will fall in love. What was the terminology?
Yeah. People won't die for a task, but they will die for a mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
People won't die for it. They won't.
Yeah.
We'll just check it off the box.
That's right.
But people will die for a mission.
Yeah. And
That's-
so when you lead and communicate that way and you prep that way, I remember even you, Steve, I almost called you Pastor Steve.
I love it. I almost got a new title. So am I preaching this on it?
Hey.
It's
yeah.
great.
So you taught me this. It's like be unapologetic for like how you're wired. Like, and you use the word like be unapologetic of being charismatic and like having that charisma.
Well, because I learned it the hard way when I would overplay my fear of being too much by apologizing for my too muchness by then dimming my light. It was listen, you and I are both I think everyone can be charismatic. Yeah, but I don't want to overplay my humility to where it's like, dude, where did Steve go?
Yeah.
Like, I just refer to myself in the third person. But yeah, talk about that a little bit on the unapologetic. And then I wanna also talk about the laughter and humor that's in play on stage. But
yeah.
Just
being unapologetic and like how you're wired to communicate.
yeah.
I think a big trap that a lot of people can fall into, and I have myself as well, is I look up to these specific communicators, whether it's at Bayside, like Pastor Andy. I've never seen someone communicate vision and pull in people to that vision. And like, then he comes alongside you and says, hey, we're going to run this race and we're going to make it really hard for people to go to hell in Manatee County in the Sun Coast. Like he does such a great job at that. Pastor David Murphy is a teacher. Like he teaches really well. Other guys that you can watch that are communicators, maybe that aren't in the church world, so to speak. A lot of us communicators, you'll study their tendencies and you'll study how they do things.
Yeah.
But then you start being like them.
I think it goes to be careful we don't compare ourselves to others.
That's right.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And you have to realize, what do you love about these various presenters? What do you love about various musicians, whatever it may be? And then know what it is that you can replicate based off of your giftings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I watch Michael Phelps swim, I'm not going to sit there and be like, I'm going to go out and swim like him.
right.
Like, I'm just not wired that way on so many levels. But that's really important, I think, for everyone to think about. Admire and respect different presentation styles, but make sure you have enough self-awareness to go, is that my style?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And I think that that's where like the learn from them and grow from some of the things that you see that they do. And if you do implement them into your communication and your delivery, be sure that it's you.
That's great.
So it's like, be unapologetic with how you're designed, how you're wired. Learn and grow from those who are more tenured and more experienced, but always be you, man. People can tell when you're not you.
So, well, it's funny. I'll add to this. An acting teacher told me this years ago. You're so right, Tuck. People can tell if you're not being you. And even if they somehow aren't picking it up because you've got so much flow, you as a presenter will always know that you're not being you. I remember a story where someone said, if you tell a story that is not true, could be just a joke you want to land and you're like, hey, I did this, even though you know you didn't. It's someone else's. The audience may never fully figure that out right away, but you'll always know that you weren't being true to yourself. And eventually the audience will eventually figure it out. But it's so important for us. I want to talk about, and we've talked about this in our walk and talks, how you've incorporated humor and laughter. Because I think you do a really good job, but I know you're hard on yourself, you know, because you are a structure person, and you've already shared with us, 17 hours to prepare for the Jonah sermon, and you've got the structure down. But I want to talk a little bit about your journey incorporating humor and laughter, what you do when it's worked, if you're okay with it, when it's been like, wah, wah, or like, oh, I thought that was going to get a laugh and it didn't.
Yeah, that's, it's brutal when it doesn't land.
Never been there. Never experienced that. But pray tell. Mine always kill. I'm kidding. That's so not true.
Something that you taught me that I've implemented, and hopefully this encourages any of the other listeners and viewers, is that don't always go for the home run in the grand slam.
Yes.
Go for the base hit. Go for the thing that happened yesterday and pull something out of it that is actually going to make people are going to relate, and they're going to think it's funny, especially with kids. So it's like you and I, great example. We're on our walk. My wife has a baby on her hip. Two of them who are running around in the driveway. She's trying to get them out to school, and she's brushing her teeth.
This literally happened. I want to share this. This is so good. Stay right here. That's not a setup punchline joke. We were taking a walk. It's like 7 a.m. And Annalise was with two of yours and then brushing her teeth. And I think I was meeting her for the first time.
Yeah, it was the first time you ever met her. She's like, sorry, you have to meet me like this. You know?
She waved from the car with a toothbrush. And and I was like, but that's not funny shame. That's not funny. Did you hear the one about? That's just a great moment of reality that we all deal with.
Yeah, that's it. And so it's like extracting things from everyday life that people can relate with. I think there's been moments or times where communicators who do travel a lot or do a lot of different things or go to a lot of places can almost disconnect from reality. But for the average listener, like, perception is reality. So if we can't get down on their level, get vulnerable and get transparent, but also just share like, yeah, man, I was trying to leave my house and my kid pooped on the floor over here. I'm trying to brush my teeth. This kid's over here throwing oatmeal against the wall. Like, if we can't actually relate to them in that way, it's going to be really hard for them to connect. So what you taught me that I implemented immediately, really, that has helped me tremendously, has been like, I would always try to go for the grand slam. Like, every time. Like, I'd get up there and it's like, man, this joke's got to land and get everybody rolling. When the truth of the matter is, like, 4 base hits sometimes will actually bring in more RBIs than the grand slam. You know what I mean? So,
Katie, that's going to make a clip. Sorry, I just screwed up that clip. That's so good. I'm just repeating it. 4 base hits is going to be the same significance as a grand slam. Isn't it freeing?
Oh, it's so
Isn't
freeing.
it freeing when
It's
we
so
go
freeing.
up and don't feel like we have to be like some renowned stand-up comedian.
Yes.
Like, by the way, stand-up comedians are wildly gifted, and you could argue they put their 17 hours in prior, but it's so important because those singles take the pressure off of us. And if you look for those singles as you prepare for your presentation, they'll come out and expose themselves. And to your point, it makes us relatable, not in a fake way.
Yeah, that's right.
And like, I'm in this with y'all.
Yeah, that's it. Something that happened a couple of nights ago, and then it happened 3 nights in a row. So my kids have a kid's phone. So it looks a lot like an iPhone, but it's obviously not an iPhone. It has games on it. It has music. But it also has alarms on the phone. And it's 2 a.m, and I hear the Fur Elise playing like, and I'm like,
I'm triggered,
bro.
I'm triggered.
And it's 2 a.m, and that's like creepy, bro. When you're like half asleep in REM, you're like getting out of REM, and you're like, is this a horror film? You know? And so I'm like, what in the world is that, bro? So I get up and I'm like, and then as a dad, for all those dads out there, Steve, you turn into like a Navy SEAL in the middle of the night. You're like, I'm checking every window. I'm looking at every Ring camera to make sure. And I hear the Fur Elise song playing and I'm like, I can't find it. And I'm like, dude, this is so creepy. Well, it was one of my kids' phones. And I'm like, so I turn it off. I throw it on the counter. I go lay back into bed. The following night,
Stop.
and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Now I can't find it. Go find it. Put it down. The 3rd night in a row, bro. You would have thought I would have broken it in half and thrown it in the trash.
Yeah, or turn the app off. Sorry. It's another podcast.
It goes again.
Oh.
And at this point, you do something about it. But it finally got me on the 3rd night at 2 a.m. at the same time hearing Fur Elise. You get to the point where you actually laugh. Like I laughed in the misery of the moment of that. And it brought me back to what you've said is it doesn't have to be a joke punchline. Yeah. It's going to land. You laugh at different things that we experience in life.
And sometimes the laughter, you said it at the beginning of the podcast, sometimes those laughter comes from tears. Sometimes if we don't laugh, we're going to be crying. Sometimes we're laughing because I can't believe this is happening again, but it makes us human.
Yeah. That's
and I'm telling you, brother, as someone who has come from the land of Hollywood, imperfectly out there, a setup punchline joke is really hard.
Yeah.
Those are hard, man. That takes some wild skill. And I think as presenters, we shouldn't put the responsibility and the burden on us to do that. You and I talked about this. I want to chop this up for a second. Like just language that people use as a gifted and respected pastor. Like, these language like, bring it, dude. Go out there and kill it. Those are dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about this.
Oh, yeah.
And I see it in the church. I see it outside the church. And it's well intended, but before the presenter, whether it's a corporate leadership seminar or you're doing a speech at your school or you're giving a sermon, we have to be really careful that we don't say it to others and we don't say it to ourselves like, man, I'm going to bring it. Because the minute you say I'm going to bring it, that toothbrush and at least brushing your teeth is out the window. Because that doesn't connect to a single.
Yeah.
Bring it is a grand slam. Yeah. So I've got to do the funny joke. And honestly, so hard to pull off. And then when you don't, it's just now you are rucking uphill the rest of your presentation.
Sure.
Well,
yeah, absolutely. I remember there's a sermon I preached. This was probably like 8 or 9 months ago. And I was trying to give a relatable story to the people. And it was an untethered moment. I was shooting from the hip a little bit. And I didn't have a great direction in where I was going, but I was just trying to be funny. There's a difference of like just being funny versus trying to be funny. And bro, I end up saying this joke about trying to say a joke about sod being laid in my yard. And literally I was like, I guess, does anybody think that's funny? And it was so embarrassing. And then to the point where Annalise, I came home, she's like, why did you do the sod joke?
We're going to remove the sod joke.
Yeah.
Thought it was funny.
I was like, that is going in the trash. It's not just going on the top shelf. It's going in the trash.
It was a home run in my brain.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was like, oh, I'm going to get him on this one. They're going to roll, bro.
Yes.
And then, so that just goes to show, man, I mean, I'm almost 35 and I've been communicating now, I don't know, for I guess like 14 years, and it's been a slow go, and I think God still has more. But that just goes to show, dude, there's still moments where you try to do it and it doesn't go the way you thought.
Dude, I have them every week. I just don't post them on. Instagram. Yeah, what am I gonna do? Well, I probably should. Hey, man, I'm here at the whatever. I'm with the Yankees, and had a joke that They didn't realize it was a joke.
Yeah.
Humbled and blessed.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much, brother. You're thinking about what you've shared so many good nuggets for anyone who is presenting to an arena or to a table, or to a aisle interaction at Publix,
Yeah.
What would you say to someone, like maybe a nugget or two or three that's just accessible and practical? Now that we've defined this idea, presenters do not have to be the campus pastor. It does not have to be the president of Game On. It could be anyone who's engaging with other people, man. And you've already hit on a few, but anything that's kind of like that 1, 2, or 3 takeaway. The took.
That's
the
really
took
good.
of hook, book, look, took.
Yeah. I would say a big one is just be consistent in trying to grow in it. Take advantage and seize opportunities when you have them.
And I feel like you always can have them if you think of communication as interacting with other human beings.
Yes.
Yeah?
Absolutely. So take advantage of those moments. If you really aspire to grow in the communication craft, or even just getting better at reading people and learning people. I'm not perfect at it. However, over the course of the years, you and I both could probably testify, the only way we got better was doing it all the time.
Yes.
And being intentional. So every meeting that I have, I always try to close with something like, how are you doing? Where are you actually at? And then how can I help you make it, take a step? And so it's like, I always just have intentionality one-on-one or in front of all the people. I think the biggest thing, man, is you really don't have to have a pulpit to be able to preach. You don't have to have a platform to move the needle in someone's life. Just do it. If you're passionate about it, look for opportunities humbly. The Lord will bring them to you, and He's the one who does the promoting. Honestly, the promoting happens in public when you have that time in private, where you're grinding it out, you're trying to grow, you're learning. And so be consistent in that. Also, I would say push past the awkwardness and insecurities.
Thank you. Imperfectly.
Dude, push past it.
Yeah.
You just have to get used to hearing yourself.
Yes.
You have to get used to making fun of yourself or someone making fun of you.
Yes.
You have to be okay with somewhat and sometimes harsh feedback.
Actually, you just hit on kind of that final transition I want to talk about. It's so important. What do you do? And I'll share mine too, man. Let's get real. What do you do with regards to that feedback loop for you? What is your process? We talked about the prep process for you. You're so good out there sharing sermon, but what's your advisory board reset? Is it Annalise? Is it other pastors in Bayside where you can get beyond, and being real here, everyone in that room is going to go, that was great. Everyone, because you are good. But you and I both know, man, when we present, there's absolutely areas we can improve.
Yes.
But no one's going to stand in the back at the door at church service and be like, hey, can I give you a couple areas of feedback?
You'd actually be kind of surprised.
Actually, maybe some people do. Yeah. You're dealing with a different rhythm.
Surprised.
You got what we call unsolicited feedbackers. I don't, because I'm banging out of there. I go to a Deloitte corporate gig, and they're like, that was great, that was great, that was great. And I'm like, you're not telling me the truth, but I'm heading on a plane. But yeah, to that point, that's funny, dude. People that give you unsolicited feedback. That's funny.
For sure.
Oh, that's another. We got to do a part 2 where it's just unsolicited feedback.
Oh, it would be hilarious for me to sit down. I could write a book, man.
And you just have to sit there and be like, well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And it might be one person out of 650 who has that take.
Oh, yeah.
Tucker, I just thought you didn't do a great job talking about the parent thing. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
First of all, need your first name. And are you a member here? Yeah. And have we met before?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What is your, though, process when you're off the dopamine, off the stage, off the sermon, and now you're like, I need some ups and I need some areas to improve. Who gives you that?
Yeah. So a big portion and piece I feel like that's been really cool about our relationship is not only how we could become really close friends and support each other in our areas of ministry and calling, but you're one of those people for me.
Oh, I
It's
didn't set that up, but I
No, I
appreciate
know.
that, brother.
I know you didn't, but that's your humility, and this is the truth from me to you is like having a third party individual who cares about me as like a son first, and as a friend second, and as a brother third, um, and but then also really cares about my communication growing. And it's like you'll tell me the truth, and you don't like put the fluff on it because you actually care about the needle moving in my communication. So it's like having guys like you in the room
Right
is
on.
so intentional so that I have that, because I know most people won't tell me the truth. The other person who tells the truth, no matter what, my wife. Every time. And it's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And she says it so like
yeah.
gently, but so directly where you're
yeah.
like, oh man. She's like, you really said this a lot. Is there a reason why? And I'm like,
No, I
you
the
know?
same.
And so I have those two in the room, and then I
Cool.
have one other guy who is in the room most times I communicate, and his sole purpose of being, and he communicates himself on big stages, and his sole purpose of being there is to write things down and tell me what I did well, and then what I could improve on. And then a big thing that is so hard to get into the habit and discipline of, but if you do it, it will change how you communicate, is recording yourself and then listening to yourself later.
You actually encouraged me to do that. When I shared my testimony at Bayside for the men's group, you walked up and you said, Steve, I want you to I didn't even know how to get the memo app. Remember, you got my phone out and you said, I want you to record it. And here's someone, I've known this 30 years and I can continue to grow too. And I had my young brother say, hey, I want you to record this. And you didn't ask me. You told me you're going to record this.
Yeah.
But it's true, because I think people don't, because they even don't think about it, but really deep down, it's vulnerable.
Oh, dude, it's so
To
hard.
record a presentation you're going to give?
Oh, it's so hard.
Why? Because you're going to learn from it. Well, I already know people in the back of the room are going to say it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what else are they going to say?
Yeah. You see your tendencies, you look a lot, you view and see a lot of your nonverbals.
Yep.
What am I doing constantly? Am I using my hands too much? I said a lot. I said a lot. I said come on a lot. Like you learn all those things when you watch yourself. And that only is going to sharpen the craft of your communication.
So good, brother. I love you said so good. You said, if I say so good too much, so good, so good. I love you so much, man. You are so gifted.
Yeah.
And you not only share story well, but you also give practical frameworks.
Yeah.
You know, that people can remember. And I think my big takeaway for us is, please don't have your vision of presenter be someone who's in an arena.
Yeah.
That's very, very rare.
Please.
You know, in fact, neither of us may ever be in an arena where we speak in front of 50,000 people.
Oh, yeah.
And if we think that way, then we're taking all of our voices out of the room. Presenting could be a sermon on Sunday.
Yeah.
A presenting could be at a sports team or a corporate team.
Yeah.
A presenting could be your volunteering for your community at a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
And all of it, man. Do the work, do the hard things. Dude, you are so gifted. Thank you, brother, so much, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I could go on and on and on, but this is Laugh with Tucker Owen.
Yeah, thank you.
And check out the Game On Nation Laugh with podcast, where podcasts can be checked out. There's links above, to the side, below. You know how to reach those links. And keep involved with our community. You can check out our newsletter and our resources at gameonnation.com. Tucker Owen, you are such a blessing, not just as a community brother, but man, you're doing multiplication stuff, you and your family. So that's it.
Yeah.
Game on.
You guys.